make it by 5:30. I guess you made it, buddy.
Good evening, everyone. It is 5:30, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for being here, by the way. So we'll go ahead and get started. Invocation by Pastor Brent Montgomery, Valley Christian Church. Brent?
Father, we thank you for the blessings you give us. I ask that those in this room, you give them wisdom to know what to do with the blessings that we have in our community, and give them the courage to make the decisions they need to and the patience to wait. Father, we ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Nestle.
Here.
Baker.
Right here.
Pearson.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Harmon.
Here.
Steinbeck.
Here.
Austin.
Here.
A current copy of the Opens Meeting Act of Nebraska is posted on the wall at the back of the council chambers. Consent agenda. All matters under consent agenda are considered by the city council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any city council member may, however, remove an item from the consent by request. Item number 1 is approved minutes of June 20th, 2017. Item number 2, approved mayor's reappointments of Mike Jacobson and Tim Brulette to the Community Redevelopment Authority Board. And that's
Move
it.
that we approve items 1 and 2 of the consent agenda.
That motion passes. Regular agenda. Item number 3, discussion on possible action by request by Rick Holtz, club coordinator for the Midwest Mopar organization, to close Victoria Lane from East State Farm Road to East Walker Road on Saturday, August 5th, 2017, for a motor sport event to include exhibition drag racing. One moment, please. Did anyone want to make a motion, or we want to wait till we hear from Mr. Holtz?
I'd rather hear from him first.
Okay.
Generally, your rules require that before you can have discussion, that there be a motion on the floor.
Even when it says discussion and possible action.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's Robert's rules.
Okay, make a motion to approve Rick Holtz, club coordinator for the Midwest Mopar organization, to close Victoria Lane and East State Farm Road to East Walker Road on Saturday, August 5th, 2017, for a motor sports event to include exhibition drag racing.
Okay, Rick.
Rich Hulse, a current resident in North Platte. I hope everybody had a chance to review this proposal a little bit. Maybe you did, or maybe you didn't. But I can answer any questions for you. I've secured the insurance today, also $1 million liability policy on this event. Everybody's required to have automotive insurance and a licensed automobile. It'll be a 1/8 mile run, which there will be no track prep on the track, so that it basically slows the cars down. It'll primarily be street vehicles, people a chance to do this. Next year, if we make this happen this year, next year we're going to expand this event to a 2-day event, add quite a bit to it, and I'd like to see this event develop into the largest car enthusiast event in this state. I think we can do this, but we need to start with this foundation here and make sure we don't have any problems. And I want to use the road for about 6 hours. Any questions? Probably quite a few.
Safety equipment. Not just for the drivers, but for the road and the pedestrian,
We won't have
Spectators.
spectators per se. The spectators will be contained right there behind the start line, so that they're not in risk in any way. All cars will be inspected according to NHRA standards. Seat belts are required. None of these cars are going to be in the speed bracket to necessitate 5-point harnesses or additional, fireware or anything like that. They won't be that fast cars.
Okay, what about 4-point cages, halos?
No, none of that stuff's required even with the NHRA unless you're under a 10-second car, which is an extremely fast
Yes,
car
it
and a
is.
quarter mile.
Okay.
We won't have those kind of cars there. The reason we won't have those kind of cars there is because we don't have a track prep, so they can't get any traction.
Okay, anything to keep them from veering into the ditch if something were to happen, broken A-arm, tie rod? float
No,
tire?
and that's the insurance end of it. There's a little bit of risk with any motorsport, I would agree. We're going to try to go north so we don't have the sun in your eyes when you're running. And an 1/8 mile is basically stoplight to stoplight. It's not a very long distance.
Well, you keep saying 1/8 mile, but in your sheet here, you got 1/8 or quarter.
Yeah, we decided to go with 1/8 mile for safety.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of this has been revised, and I sent out a revised copy. I don't know if everybody received that or not, but 1/8 mile is what we decided, because that road is only 0.9 of a mile long. Now, the problem that you run into is not with the newer automobiles, because they have disc brakes and they can slow down quick. The problem you run into on a hot day, which is going to be August, humidity, etc. The older cars, drum brakes, you know how that is. I mean, they get hot. They don't want to slow you down very fast. So we need all that additional distance to
Okay.
slow down.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any safety issues with that east-west traffic on Walker
We
Road?
will, and that was something I wanted to bring up. I'm glad you brought that up. I would like to take control of that intersection right there on Walker Road so that I can control any traffic flow through there. Now, on the other end of it, that's where our cars will come in and line up. We shouldn't have any traffic issue there at all, because we'll line them up single file and pull in. Now, it takes about 3.5 minutes to run 2 cars and get them off the track, get a signal from the other end of the track is clear, pull them off, get them out of the way, and line up 2 more cars and get them ready to go. That being said, we're going to have a limited number of slots. In a 6-hour period, I can't get off more than 50 matches. But it's the foundation event for what we want to build on. It gives people a little bit of the thrill and the excitement of the motorsports, but, next year we'll add a car show and a motor show, and of course we're having a cruise after this as well. It should grow quite a bit by next year. 3rd year, I think we could have a substantial event. Yes, sir.
So you talked about 2nd year, 3rd year, things like that. Are you always planning on doing Victoria Lane, or, I mean?
No, we may have to change our road next year if they start to develop out there.
Okay.
So we got to be versatile. Our first choice in roads was the Newberry access down by the water plant. That was our very first choice, but that's a state highway now, state highway link. We've talked about pursuing that with the state. That's difficult. I don't know. That would be preferred, but I don't know if we can get that done.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yes, sir.
Any issues shutting off
Yeah, that's the question I got.
Walker and Victoria?
You're gonna run south to north, right?
Correct. So, I come in on State Farm Road with a single lane of
Okay.
vehicles, and they can be over, so we have 1 lane through traffic, turn in, they can have their matches, come out that other end. And that's why I'd like to have control of that intersection right there, so I can move my stuff out of there and not have any cross-traffic in there as well, just safety.
Okay, let's talk about the surrounding landowners.
I need to visit with all of them. Gary Herbst, of course, is on board. He owns a piece of ground there. Let's see, wasn't it Miller was it on one side, and I think Beveridge is on the other.
Beveridge is on the west side,
I'll be visiting with those people as well.
but you haven't done it yet.
No, I haven't done it with all of them yet, no.
Rich, when you say you need control of that intersection, what exactly do you?
Well, I just don't want to allow through traffic through there. So in
At
other
any
words,
ti-
kind of close that
At
intersection
any
off.
time, because that wasn't in what we had originally
I know, that's not
talked
what we
about.
have in here. I know that. But I don't want to have an issue with, car coming in and out and in the middle of traffic either, Now, if I have to, I'll just turn my traffic there, and that's which I intend to do. But, we're going to have somebody there, and whether that's the police department or whoever, to make sure we don't have a traffic issue there. There's not a lot of traffic flow through there.
No.
But that would be the time you would get it.
Didn't you mention something about you had a staging area over at DNN Event Center or something like that?
That's,
also?
that was our initial plan, yes, so that we can do our tech inspections there, get everybody registered in, that sort of thing, and then we can go from there. So we'll have a basically parking facility there. Right.
And we discussed the 3 property owners that would be
Right.
involved with that, too.
Right. Right. And if you gentlemen pass this, I'll be talking with those people tomorrow morning. So, yes, sir.
How long will Walker Road be closed?
6 hours. I'd like to have that road for 6 hours. It won't be Walker Road, it'll be Victoria Lane.
No, I'm talking Walker.
Oh, I won't take Walker off. I just want to turn traffic there. I got to somehow control that intersection there. Because I get cars coming off of there, you know.
Somebody's coming across, they can go all the way across.
Well, I don't want that to happen because we have enough distance to stop. That should never happen. But, you know, we need to think about controlling that intersection with local police or sheriff's department or somebody. Might not be a bad idea. I mean, it's just a safety precaution. I don't want anything to happen. I mean, that's a long ways to slow your car down. I mean, that's an awful long ways. So it shouldn't be an issue, but I just want to be prepared for those kind of things.
Okay, who pays for traffic control there then?
We'll pay for it. We're funding this. With the help of Turn North Platte is also helping us with that. And we could get some additional sponsors if we need to. I've had a huge response on this thing. You know, this has been tried for a lot of years, and it's not, to me, it's not about just a bunch of local guys going out and having some fun with their cars one afternoon. It's about building an event that we can bring a lot of people into the town and really grow. And I want to see the biggest event that we've ever had for car enthusiasts right here. Sir?
Where are we gonna park, where are the spectators gonna park?
We're not going to have much of a spectator section this year. We're not going to really concentrate on that this year. Next year, if we have to change locations or set up differently for that, we will. You know, and spectators have to be insured as well. So we're going to rope off that section right there at the beginning of the start so that the people that are with the individuals racing can at least stand there and watch the cars go. There won't be a lot of spectators there, other than participants. We're not even really pushing the spectator aspect of it this year. So we just want to build a foundation and get this off without a hitch, and then go from there, add to it from there. Yes, sir.
I just want to say one thing that I really, really like about this idea of yours, and is that you're not really asking for much of us other than to close a road that's not heavily used other than people test driving for Bill Summers or cutting across. And you're wanting to make, you know, a kind of an entrepreneurial type spirit, you know, an event to attract people to this town, you know, to do things here and to provide people with an outlet who like racing and things like that. And I really like that, you know, like I said, that entrepreneurial type spirit of the thing that you're trying to bring here. And so I really like that about that, and I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. Yeah, my goal is not to make money on this, it's to build a big event. The byproduct of that is going to be the hotels, the meals, those things. That's great. That's great for the community. I love it. I've lived here my whole life. I want that. But it's, for me, the passion is about building the biggest car enthusiast event in the state.
Rick,
Yes, sir.
don't you think you're a little bit ambitious there when you say you'll have it ready to go by August 5th?
No, sir, I can have it ready. I can have it ready in 24 hours. I can get it done. I have some very solid help in this thing. And I'm lucky enough to have some club members that are have some years behind them and know how to do this sort of thing. And so there's good leaders. I have teams for every section of this. It's well organized. We'll have a meeting. Tomorrow I'm going to do some chasing around and working on some details, and I'm confident that if need be, I could get it done in a week. But I have 100 people at least that want to do this right now. And I have people from Valentine, I got people from Imperial, Grand Island, all wanting to come in for this, and I'm going to have to limit the size of the event right out of the gate because of time. You can't cheat the clock.
Well, I'm like Andrew, I'm for this thing, but I
Thank
do
you.
see some problems.
That's why we want to run it a little smaller this year and get the bugs out of it. And,
You haven't touched bases with any landowners around.
no, I will.
What if somebody says no?
Well, I've got two. One of them I know that it's not a problem. The other two I'll talk to. I'm loosely connected with one of them. So I'll say one that I still have to connect with and see if we've got a problem. I'm being more positive than that. I'm going to try to show the positive on this for everybody. But I don't want to do this thing somewhere where we've got a lot of residents and things. That wouldn't be even sense. There would be no sense in that.
No. So, and you basically are not encouraging spectators.
Not this year, no, sir. We really aren't going to have the accommodations for a lot of spectators, yes, sir.
I'm just thinking out loud here. I think you might have more spectators than you anticipate.
You know, and I might. I'm going to have the porta potties out there. I'm going to have a pallet of water out there because it's hot. You got to give people water, you know, these kinds of things, you know, but we're going to be limited on our resources with those things. So, as far as having stands and that sort of a thing, no, we're not going to go after that. We don't really have a place to put those either. It'd be awkward, that particular place.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it's good for our community,
Thank you.
for the whole place, for our
Thank
whole
you.
town.
Thank you, sir.
Question for Doug. Is there any problem closing that street off? That's my only problem.
We've never had any problem doing that. I mean, you can never anticipate what somebody might dream up, but we've closed streets off here in the city on a number of occasions. As long as they do a good job of closing it off and monitoring it.
Well, my first, to launch the event, in fact, tomorrow morning is the first thing on my personal agenda to get done is, if we pass this, is to approach the State Patrol and start the event with me racing the State Patrol. A lot of people will get a kick out of that. That'll be fun.
Well,
So,
I didn't hear what you said.
my first thing on my list of my personal agenda tomorrow, if we pass this, is for me to go to approach the State Patrol, and I want to race one of their cars to launch the event.
Oh,
I think that'd be fun. Everybody get a kick out of that.
Those machines do well.
Yeah, they run pretty good.
Yes, they do.
Yes, sir.
Okay, back on another serious note. I see in here you talking about having an on-site ambulance. Have you talked to Dennis or Trent down at the fire department about having an on-site
Yes.
grass truck as well?
What kind of truck?
Like one of their grass trucks, field trucks?
No,
outside?
I haven't. We can work out those details. I did talk to him about having the paramedic there and the ambulance there,
Okay.
and some of these people that are involved with this are involved with other venues of racing, and they have resources as well. But I will visit with them on all that,
Okay, I'm
make
just
sure we
thinking-
have all the proper equipment there.
Hot metal, grass, middle of August.
Exactly. Good call.
Good call for a grass fire out there, and
call.
that's a big area,
Okay.
so you might look into that.
That's a good idea. And I'm not afraid to take people's ideas and incorporate them in. So,
Okay.
yeah, great.
Rich,
Yes, sir.
oh, good, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Well, you say you're going to go south to north, but I was just thinking here, if you're gonna shut off Walker Road and you want to stage over DNN, why not go the opposite way?
Well, we thought about going the opposite way, but we don't want to run into the sun. And when that road comes to an end, you have an irrigation ditch.
Yes, you do.
So we want to go the other direction, to stay out of the sun, go north.
Of course, the eighth of a mile, you should have them shut down, but that doesn't.
We
mean
should
you will.
have no problem shutting down, that's right. But I'm just thinking about what could go wrong.
And that-
Anytime you're dealing with automobiles and speed, you have to consider everything. Right, right. Yes, sir.
I'd just like to say, I'm all in favor of this, if we can deal with
Thank
the
you.
Walker Road issue.
Okay. Well, I can work with Mr. Hawks on that, and we can figure something out. We can put our heads together on that and work out something.
My only thing is that landowners, I think, I'm just gonna throw this out, you probably should have talked to them first.
Well, if I don't have the site, I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse. I mean, getting the road is the primary thing to me, and then go from there, because we don't have a lot of options. And I'll be perfectly honest about it, we don't have a lot of options. We need a concrete road. Concrete is an absolute must in August. If we used asphalt, it would just tear it up.
Yes.
It's too soft. So we're really limited on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Motion has been made and seconded.
Yes.
The motion doesn't address Walker Road as it stands now. The motion authorizes the closing of
Victoria Lane.
Victoria Lane.
Well, and if I understand what Rich is saying properly, we don't need to close Walker Road.
They just need somebody in case they open it up and it goes back off.
Our motion passes. Okay. Item number 4, discussion and possible action on entering into an agreement with Brandon McCook and BMX 308 for the use of a portion of the tract of land referred to as South Park, located in the southeast quadrant of Walker Road and South Buffalo Road for use as a BMX site.
I would move that we enter into an agreement with Brandon McCook and BMX 308 for the use of a portion of tract of land referred to as South Park located in the southeast quadrant of Walker Road and South Buffalo Road for use as a BMX site.
We have some comment period.
I beg your pardon?
Can we make comments on this?
Sure.
Okay, I've been receiving some calls, people who do not wish to have this. A couple of them are really adamant.
Yes, it is.
And I'm Brandon, by the way, sorry, everybody here. There's going to be that in any event. I don't care if it's even Mr. Mopar, there's gonna be people that don't wanna see drag racing in this town, especially on a city street. Even though it's a far enough away city street that it's not gonna interfere with anybody. There's always gonna be opponents of any cause. There's always gonna be opponents of kids having fun. I don't know what their cause for not wanting this would be. Whatever it happens to be, we have to justify it. I don't know what they've been saying. Why do they not want it?
Well, the comments I got was the dust and congestion out there. That's their biggest concerns.
Okay. As far as dust is concerned, the track will be maintained to a level where we're gonna have to water it, because I don't know if you've ever been on a bicycle and trying to ride behind somebody with a plume of dust up in your face. It's not very pleasant. When we're racing, we've actually got Josh from Kearney, Tri-City BMX here, and a racer, and they'll testify that the dust is very, very minimal, very minimal. And if they're worried about dust, then I applaud them to go out right now and see the dust that's floating around with it being not used for anything at the moment. There's plenty of dust out there at the moment. I live right across the street from it, so I see it. There really isn't.
You live to the west?
I live to the north, directly across from it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, I understand there's gonna be people, like I said, there are gonna be opponents of this project. They're allowed to be. That's what yesterday was all about. That's our freedom. That's what we're allowed to do in this country. And I've also gotten some people that have misconceived what this is. And they say, well, we don't want those loud noises. They're not motorcycles. They're not going to be making the noises that people are conceiving this to be. And I've actually been able to talk to people about that, and they say, oh, well, we thought it was motorcycles. All of you are probably familiar with the brap brap of a two-stroke. It's nothing like that. I mean, yes, during a large event, we will have an intercom system, a PA system, announcing the races and the riders and the winners and the losers and so on and so forth. But it will not be loud and extravagant. It'll be pretty much right there in that corner of the property. So, what was that pretty much their only?
This one particular party was a little loud and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
it's Mr. Peterson's got some.
Yes, sir.
Brandon, I have two concerns. Number one, how long do you anticipate that the BMX group will be around? Because I talked to somebody in another town, I'll say,
Mhm.
and a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago, they had like 50 members, and now they're down to about 12 members, and there's nobody left to really take care of things.
Okay.
And the other concern that I have, I don't know if you're aware of it, but we have a wellness committee here in North Platte.
Yes, sir.
And I know they're going to be coming to us before too long, probably for land and money.
Okay.
And I don't know what they're gonna ask for or aren't gonna ask for, but
So they're in the same situation that I am as a citizen of this town and wanting to use this property for the betterment of the community. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Just because they're a wellness committee, would that give them more rights than a citizen wanting to do this?
No, I didn't say that, but I just know that there's another group that's going to be coming to the council, and they're gonna be asking for something. I don't know what, but something.
Okay. To answer your previous question, BMX has already been around for, well, let's see, I was born in 71. It was made an official sport, sanctioned sport in 1976. So that puts me at 46 years old. USA BMX just celebrated 40 years of a sanctioned body. So if it's already been 40 years and 3 Olympics, I don't foresee the sport or its fellowship falling away anytime soon. It's continually growing because of the generations. So right now, currently parents that had done it in the past are getting their children into it as well. And then those parents are also racing on top of that, and grandparents. So it's not an age restricted. So when you talk about a group, there is no definitive demographic. If you had to put a demographic in it, it would probably be in those teenage years from 12 to 18, 19, 20. But it's not restrained to that specific demographic. I don't believe the sport's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It's just growing in popularity.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
My only concern really is, it says we're gonna enter into an agreement with BMX 30X, but then down at the bottom it says no agreement has been made at this time. So are we just gonna, yeah, we'll do it and then make up the wordage later for the agreements?
Well, as it says on there, Brooke, we need the direction of the council as to what it is that you're willing to do
Okay.
on this. So,
At what time would we discuss that?
well, it would have to be brought back to the council if you decide to enter into this agreement. We'd have to draft something that would
Okay.
be,
I was just wondering if perhaps we could go on record as being in general support of the concept, pending a formal agreement being drawn up. Can we give any kind of support to this idea here tonight? I mean, that's what I guess I would like to see this move ahead, move forward. We've been talking about it for a long time. And Ben, to your comment about the wellness committee, do you have any information that would indicate that they have their eye on that particular piece of property?
No, I do not, Jim.
I was just curious. Thank you.
If you want, I was gonna talk about that part that we don't have an agreement set. I had to make a motion in order to, bring it up for discussion. So, my personal thought on it is, going with what I said before, I think it's great that we have people here in this town that are wanting to do something, and we need to encourage people to use their entrepreneurial spirits to create businesses, to create events for people to do, create activities for people to do, whether it's free events or paid events or whatever, each little piece adds to the community and adds a different piece. Saying that, you're a long ways off on collecting your money. And you need the support, some sort of designation that, yes, we would be interested in doing this in order for you, as you said, to try to raise money, right?
Yes.
So your last meeting, you told us you think you could do it in 6 months, but, then I talked to you later and you said, but if I could get a little more time and cushion, that would be great.
Just for a cushion, right.
My take is personally that I think if we were to say we are willing to block off 6 months and say, we'll revisit, see where you're at in 6 months. If you have the money in 6 months, we'll work out the finite details, I suppose, of the project, how you're going to do the, specifics,
Okay.
micro details. But the broad concept, hey, where are you at in 6 months? Are you, I don't know, 80% of the way to your 187,000, if I remember right?
Roughly 187, not counting the contingency.
And maybe it changes,
Right.
changes, and you say, hey, I need 200,000 now, something different changed, an estimate changed. But, if we could give some sort of verbal, yes, we would like to go ahead with this pending you raising the money,
Yes.
and we can revisit it in 6 months at that point. That gives you a cushion to say, hey, I've had a really lot of success, or saying, you know what, maybe I haven't had as much success as I thought I would. It's going to take me a lot longer, and, can we come back again at a future date or something like that?
Okay, and that's been our dilemma the past year. If you recall, I approached the city council at the work session on June 6th or 7th of 2016.
Yeah.
With the same proposal with improvisations then on June 7th of 2017. And that has been our hindrance, is the ability to raise money, because we don't have the city property to put this project together.
but
So
you-
if we had some kind of commitment from the city saying if we were to raise our portion, then I believe that those fundraising people that we've gone to will say, okay, well, we'll pledge, or we will commit to. If we don't have the hard cash, if we can even just get the pledges or the commitments, saying that, with the city council saying, yes, we can use it, providing we have our portion of it raised.
And I think that's what I was saying
Yes,
is,
yeah.
come back in 6 months, and, if you have the money, then we'll work out the finite, you can work out the finite details on the
Okay.
back end, because, I don't want to get bogged down into super details or anything. But that's my
Right.
take on it, and I don't know where the rest of the council is, but that's what I think we should look at doing.
I believe we can do it in 6 months.
Just a couple quick questions for you, Brandon. So, say this passes tonight, the agreement comes up, X amount of months, if you raise the money, we move forward, you raise your money within the time, you move forward. How long, start to finish, to get the track operational?
A normal BMX track, just to get it up and functioning to race races, only takes approximately a week to week and a half. The total development of the project is probably going to take 6 weeks. I mean, that includes the parking. I mean, it all depends on how quickly the city can also get in and develop that property as done in the engineered estimate, and how quickly it can be leveled and so on and so forth. Everything is kind of, hindering on when the city can get into their work, then we can get into our work. It all kind of cascades. I'd say if we raise the money in the next 6 months or sooner, then I'm hoping to be racing this spring and actually open the season with USA BMX usually in April, May.
Okay, well, that's what I was just kind of doing the math in my head, was if we did it 6 months from now, that'd put us in January.
Right.
And if we went ahead and did it 9 months to give you a buffer, that would put you at the first week of April.
Right.
So if you raised it prior to, you could always come back to us before the 9 months was up.
Correct. Right.
I mean, that's my thoughts on it.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to try to start digging and building something in when the ground's frozen.
Right.
So,
Brandon, I have
Yes,
one
sir.
other question. I know that some time ago when we talked about it, you said you'd need approximately 10 acres,
20.
20 acres?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's including parking, that's including the pump track, the racetrack, and
And then there was also some discussion about, but that other land, we might be able to use that later on. Are we
Yes.
gonna tie up the whole tract out there at once?
Not the whole track. If you recall back in June of last year, when I first came to the city with the entire proposal, the entire property we would start with the BMX track, then we would migrate into a mountain bike recreation area. We're still keeping with the outdoor recreation theme for the entire property. And then the southern 25-ish acres would be a radio-controlled vehicle park. So all of that is in the proposal, but we want to start with the BMX track, which is probably going to be the largest draw for that area.
Okay, so when we're voting on this now, we're voting on how many? 20 acres?
The first 20 acres, yes, or that extreme northwest quadrant, that there's an ingress.
How much?
Little over 100.
Over 100 acres?
It
Which
might
in
also-
the inevitable plan would be to turn it into the outdoor recreation area that we've put out in the entire proposal.
It might also get you down the line to know if you're going to lease this property, how long are you going to lease it, what's the rental going to be, a number of, I mean, right now it's an open book. You've got absolutely no direction. We have no direction. This gentleman has no direction. Actually, you've got nothing.
That's right. Brandon, I don't, you're gonna have to show me some figures.
I've given you engineered estimates, I've given, yes.
I have this, but what I'm saying is, like Doug just said, we need some, to know the amount you're willing to lease it for, or some sort of proposal.
Well, from what I understood, with it being city park property, there wouldn't be a monetary lease involved, because the city would still maintain ownership of it. So a national monetary lease was not talked about.
I'm not aware of any property that the city owns that they lease that they don't charge a rental for. That's what, I may be overlooking something, but I'm unaware.
They should pay for it.
Generally, the city's not entitled to give its property away. It belongs to the taxpayers. They're entitled to a return on their property. So normally you do get a rental for your city property when you lease it to someone.
Wouldn't that be set like we do with every other park fee for baseball rental, field rentals, or softball diamond rentals, or pavilion park rentals, or any of those other type activities? Wouldn't that be set by the rec department at that point then? Because that would be Parks and Rec Department, or Park.
We don't have anything scheduled for that sort of an arrangement.
But I mean, wouldn't that be under their purview at that point?
All I'm saying is that normally you would get some value in return for letting someone use your property.
There's an immense value in the return in tax revenue and tourism revenue. That's what we brought to the city is, if you recall, there's a letter from the Visitors Convention already from Lisa Burke, anticipating, $750,000 plus per year in annual tax revenue and tourism revenue coming into the city because of this. So,
Kind of an intangible, like, kind of hard to grasp that concept. I think you're right, but I don't know if that would be considered a monetary return to the taxpayer per se. I don't know. Can you count, can you look at it that way, Doug? Like, increased tax revenue being a monetary return to our citizens.
People do try to justify it that way. Whether it would fly or not, it would fly unless someone challenged it. And then maybe. I don't know.
I just want to make a comment. I'm concerned what Doug's talking about is really the motion we have here is an agreement to agree. I mean, it has no legal effect, and I don't want to give false hopes. I mean, I want you to put something together here, but I mean, we're really in a difficult situation. I think it's fair to assume that the city will not expend $200,000 to do this. You're going to have to raise money.
yes, sir.
And I think if you come back to us, and I'm just going to throw out a for instance, you come back and say, we got $100,000 in the bank. Now you're going to get our attention.
Right.
I'm a little concerned that you want us to spend $200,000.
You're not, I'm not asking you
No,
to
no,
spend
and I'm not,
200,000.
but please understand our position. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just
Yeah,
saying is,
yep.
I think you really need to get some money generated and come to us and say, hey, I got $100,000 in the bank. Now you got our attention. Right now, we don't know whether to lease it to you. We can't really give it to you.
And I'm not asking to give it to us, I'm just asking for us to use it. We're not asking to own it.
No, and
Yeah.
it's a difficult situation for us here because, I mean, I guess the worst thing to do is, like you said, we come back a year from now and we're in the same situation, you know what I'm saying?
And you're saying that if I came back with $100,000, I would grab your attention, but the problem is, our people that we're going and asking this money for, we can't grab their attention because the city council won't give us anything to build on. We have gotten information back from Nebraska Land National Bank, Great Plains Regional Med Center, and other banks and large institutions saying, well, come back to us when you have concrete plans and when the city says you can use the property. It's sitting out there, but unfortunately, we can't grab it because the city hasn't said that we can use it yet in any way, shape, or form, and that's why I liked Andrew's proposal. If we say, yes, you can use this property contingent on you coming back in 6 months, 9 months, and saying, we have raised our $180,000, then why is it so bad that we can use a piece of property that's sat and done nothing for the last 20 years? Nothing has been done with that property for 20-plus years. And yet it's classified as city park. And that's exactly what we're wanting to do, is develop it into a city park.
Actually, it wouldn't be a city park.
It would be city park, because what is the classification of a
It's
city park?
now, but if we gave it to someone to operate, it would not be a city park.
Josh, real quick question. Where is your track located?
Hello, my name is Josh Osterhout, and I am the track operator for Tri-City BMX there in Kearney. And we are just past the dog park and the volunteer fire department, and it's kind of down in a bowl area, but I want to address some things. Excuse me, I don't generally do this, but I'm going to address some things as far as it being a city park. We actually don't pay a fee for it at all for any part of that year, any part of the season, anything like that. They do require me to upload an insurance agreement, which USA BMX provides to us, and that's all that the Park and Rec Department in Kearney, Nebraska requires of us. We don't pay a fee or anything, a lease fee. They consider it a city park. They actually come in and they mow in there.
Excuse me, who's they? I'm looking.
Park and Rec.
Okay.
Sorry. Park and Rec comes in and they help us maintain it, basically. So, and like what Brandon was saying, as far as the dust and whatnot goes, we don't have a problem with that, honestly. You know, like he was saying, we maintain it quite a bit, and it's all volunteer work. None of us get paid for it. So there are for-profit tracks out there, but we're not one of them. And we're actually nonprofit through the Kearney Foundation there. We have our money with them. They monitor it pretty closely, so there's no foul play or anything like that. But everything's kept in check. And I know what this gentleman was talking about as far as members go and whatnot. It's true, we are a little lower, but we are building back up. And we've recently spent funds to get advertisements in the movie theaters there. And I believe that'll be a positive thing for us as well. As far as the members that are needed to maintain the track, I usually have four or five guys at a time that that are able to work with the track, make it so it's race ready. Sometimes I even do it with two, just me and another guy. And it's fairly easy to get race ready. It doesn't take much. So, and we race on Saturdays, we have practice on Thursdays.
Other than that, it's open to the general public, correct?
Right, and that's the other part, yeah. As far as, that's the other agreement we have with them. If we keep the park open to the general public, they do consider that a city park. So, that's a big thing. So they can come and ride on it, whenever. And that's also where the insurance comes up. That's why they have asked for us to upload documents, as far as insurance goes. So, I think that's all I have, though.
Josh,
I
I
hope
didn't get your last name. Would you give me your last name and spell it, please?
Yes, sir. That's the way it is for most people. Last name Osterhout, OSTERHOUDT.
And what's your address, Josh?
829 Judge Street, Broken Bow, Nebraska, 68822.
So you
I-
don't live in Kearney, but that's what we're talking about is Kearney?
Yes. Yes, sir. I'm the track operator for Tri-City BMX in Kearney, Nebraska. I do drive an hour a few times a week just to maintain the track and whatnot and get things going. I'm a racer from Broken Bow, Nebraska. We used to have a track there in Broken Bow.
Do you volunteer your time to do that?
Yes, sir.
And the city doesn't pay you a fee
No.
to do that?
I do not make a single dime from it. So, I just want to see the sport survive. I want to see this up and going, My part in this is we can help them, they can help us. Rider count, it'll help the city of Kearney, it'll help the city of North Platte. We get the big races in here, buku bucks. That's a big thing too.
What size is your track?
Uh,
Is it the same thing we're talking about,
Yes.
Brandon's talking about?
Yes. Our track length is 1,324 feet. It's one of the longer ones, but it prepares us for going to other tracks out of state and whatnot. A lot of them are around the same length, so
1,000 to 1,100 feet.
yeah.
Josh, are there any homes in close vicinity to the track in Kearney?
No, sir.
None.
It's kind of over by the old dump.
Is it off
So-
on the end of 39th?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I know where it is.
Yeah, it's down below in a bowl area, yeah. So, I didn't mean to take your guys' time, I'm sorry.
Just one quick question. You talked about having your big races and whatever. What kind of attendance or what kind of
Oh, man.
situation has been your experience on your track in Kearney with that?
When we have our big races, we can get 250, 300, people on the track easy. But that in turn, you're looking at probably at least 750 to 1,000 people that are in the city itself. So, yeah, that's hotels.
How many of those events do you have each year?
It depends on how many USA BMX wants to give you, basically. It depends on how well your track performs. Go ahead.
What are you averaging in Kearney
So,
last 5 years?
right now, 15 to 20 riders, but, like we had discussed, I'm trying to get the rider count up again.
No, I mean, how many of your
So-
big events a year, on average,
Oh.
the last 5 years?
Pulling in. Sorry. I've actually been a track operator for, this is the third season. So, for the last 5 years.
How many did you have last year?
How many big events were there last year? How many of your big races did you have last season?
Okay, so, big races, we probably had 3 or 4 of them.
Okay, and the year before that?
Roughly the same.
Okay, so you're averaging 3 to 4 a year for the last 3 or 4 years?
Yes.
You're saying? And each one of those, you're drawing in 300 people, riders?
Easy,
And
yes.
then another, probably 700 to 1,000 individuals coming, not just the rider, but the families, the pit, and people just want to watch, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And we don't charge a fee for spectator fees as well.
So basically what you're saying is roughly in the last 3 to 4 years, 3 to 4 times a year, you've drawn in 1,000 people each event.
Yes.
To Kearney. So that's an extra 4,000 people that visited each year.
Yes.
So there we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, just trying to.
No, you're
get to the
fine.
point.
Have you had an event this year yet?
Yes.
And how many people were there? When did you have it?
Early June.
It was
Okay.
actually
Early
one
this
of the
season.
state qualifiers. I actually went to it also.
Okay.
So as far as people goes,
So if you don't charge anything for these, how do you, where does this money come from to take care of it?
oh, we don't charge any spectator fees or anything like that. We have racer fees.
Okay. And who gets that money?
USA BMX gets part of it. The track gets back to it, and the foundation, they have control of that money. So they know, yeah, concessions.
Okay.
So,
One more
Hey.
quick question. Is the Tri-City BMX also an LLC?
no, not itself.
Okay.
State of
We're-
Nebraska, if you're a nonprofit, you're not allowed to be an LLC.
Okay. But you decided to go or LLC?
No, we're not an
Oh, you are
LLC.
nonprofit?
Yeah,
You
we
did
are-
get your
we are-
501c,
we
that's
are
right.
501c3.
That's right, you got your 501c, all right.
Which means that all of us are also volunteering. We've got our committee here as well, so.
I think we're spinning our wheels. And I think we need to change the motion to whether we support or do not support authorizing the staff to go ahead and negotiate some agreements. And we need to get into specifics. We need to talk about the length of the agreement. We need to talk about whether there's a bond of some kind, that if it closes down, that the track is leveled out. There's just a whole bunch of those kind of things that I think needs to come to the council before we can make an intelligent decision. And to me, at this point, is do we support the concept of pursuing this? And I think one of the things that needs to be in there is that when you come back to us again, you either need to have cash in the bank or sign pledges from people that there's a certain number of dollars. I mean, we can sit here all night and kick this around, and we're not going to get anywhere.
Hi, I'm Bunny Hind, and I'm on the, we have established a committee, and all of us are volunteering this. We have worked hard since last year to establish a 501c3, which was requested, correct? And so we did that, and what our struggle is, to let you guys all know, is that we're trying to raise money. We raised quite a bit right away, but nobody wants to give any more money. And I'm a small business person, and we want to give money to them, but we're not going to commit until the land is there, until there's something positive that we can give people to say, yes, the city is going to, they'll give us the land to use as a 308 BMX park. And if that doesn't come out, this is just a commitment. We have sent out letters to commit, and there's gold levels and bronze levels and things like that, so that businesses that support this can donate, but we will not get a dime until the city gives us. So you're right, we feel like we're spinning our wheels as well, and we're having a hard time. And Karen Lang is our grant writer, and she is trying. We can't write grants until we get the,
I mean, we're in a catch-22.
Yes.
Until we can say that we have this land agreement in place, I can't write any grants. I have a whole list of potential grantees. The other thing to keep in mind is grants aren't all where I can just write it now. Some are due in March, some are due in April, some, so even giving us a 6-month timeline is eliminating a lot of potential sources for grants, because some of them we've already missed out on this year. So we're in a terrible situation as far as there's a lot of money out there that I think we can secure, but until we have some kind of agreement saying that, yes, we have the use of the land pending that we obtain that money. So I hope, does that make sense, where we can't do anything? I want to throw out a really quick couple things. For those of you that know me, I spent 30 years with the Department of Labor. And my main job was either recruiting businesses to town or employees to town. And in both situations, one of the primary things that they were concerned of when they were looking at North Platte in comparison to another town is what type of recreation there was for their potential employees. Because you aren't going to get people to move here if you don't have recreation. And no, do I think everyone in North Platte's going to take advantage of this track? Absolutely not. But I do think that it's something that's important. The city that has the most opportunity for that type of stuff for their youth or their citizens are the ones that are the most attractive to new business and new employees. I mean, we'd get phone calls from California. What's there to do in North Platte? They wanted to know what recreation there was. They wanted to know what the schools were like, and they wanted to know what the recreation was. So, thinking that this is the catch-all for everyone, absolutely not. But it's another positive thing for our community. Number one, it says that we value our youth. And shouldn't that be our priority? Is what I'm not going to go use this BMX track. A couple years ago, though, I took a carload of kids to Kearney for a punt, pass, and kick competition. And I said, you know what, let's throw our bikes in the trunk, because I'd gone by that track and had never been there. And I said, we'll go over there and check it out. And I had girls and boys. Instead of spending 2 hours in Kearney, we were there for 9 hours because they rode those tracks. They thought that was and I told Brandon, I said, I came back and said, North Platte needs this track. This was a blast. It cost me nothing other than hauling those bikes. I spent the day in Kearney. We spent money shopping, then we ate 2 more meals there than we planned on. And in fact, I'm disappointed. I had 12 little boys that were going to come with me tonight that call me every week and want to know when the BMX track is going to be done. And they had ball practice, so they couldn't come. But, I think it's a positive for this town. And really, the fact that all we're asking for is the use of the land that's sitting there with no plans is kind of a no-brainer. So I hope you think of it as a positive for North. And I'll tell you what, Brandon is a ball of fire. If I were him, I would have given up 6 months ago. And he doesn't give up. But we are in such a situation where we can't get the money until we say this is what the agreement is.
at least with the city council behind it and, going in that direction. Because I'm a good PR person, I can get out there and raise the money, but I cannot commit to the land. So we're very, very frustrated. We're very frustrated with all this. And I don't know, Mr. Stack, if you can check out maybe the rules of the city park and give us some concrete information on it. And I don't know if we even can compare with Kearney as far as not
That's just an example of some of the questions that are raised. Is it going to be city property that you're allowed to use? Are you asking for an exclusive lease? None of
city
that
property
has been
that we
answered.
can use, basically, yes.
Then it would be open to everyone and
Yes,
anyone
sir.
for any use?
Yes, sir.
With the exception of actual race days or practice days,
During those
Those are
events.
just some of the
yes.
questions
Yes,
that
sir.
need to be addressed.
Yes, and we would be happy to address all of those questions. I have sent all the information to the city engineer, and we are working with the wellness committee as well. And Mr. Poppy, I believe it is, oh, he is, there you are, okay. He's been helping us along with, getting information together and distributing it to the people. And we have the same questions coming back. Do you have the land? Nope, but we're trying. And they want to, everybody's kind of sitting here waiting. there's an anticipation from a lot of local people and businesses that really want to help, so, and support this. We have had nothing but positive feedback, to tell you the truth. So, thank you for your time.
Andrew has a question.
Well, my question is more like.
Wait a minute, we're getting too many people
Yeah.
up here.
Oh.
Some of you have a seat. Karen, Karen, help me out here. I got too many people. Karen, would you please be so kind as to let me, do I have your name spelled right? Lange?
Yep, you got it.
And can I get your address? Thank you, Karen,
You're welcome.
appreciate. And Bunny, I know you, thank you, but I don't have your address anymore.
It is 7601 East Fortune Hills Road. East Fortune Hills Road. It's a long name. And that's North Platte.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to say it again, Mr. Mayor, we're spinning our wheels.
Yes.
I think we need to have a motion whether we support the concept and then start working at details.
Just one thing before Chris talks. Wasn't that many years ago, we lost a really big business trying to come to North Platte because there wasn't a whole lot for youth and activities, correct? We just discussed this the other day, right, Jim?
I don't remember that we said that was one of the
Well,
reasons.
you said that was
though.
one of their concerns that they said, right?
That's
That's
correct.
one of them. This is step one on trying to remedy that issue of trying to get more activities for the youth and trying to create more activities for youth to draw in more potential businesses to North Platte and more citizens in North Platte. And here we are spinning our wheels about trying to let them use land that literally hasn't been done for nothing except a tree dump for years. I personally don't see an issue, and I don't understand why there is such an issue.
You have a motion.
The motion's been made right there, and it's been seconded to go ahead and make an action if we're gonna enter with an agreement.
I'm not sure what this gentleman's
But,
doing. Can you
My
help
name's
me out
Chris
here?
Spradlin.
I'm sorry, Chris Bradlin?
Spradlin, Spradlin, 1202 West Phillip Avenue. I actually am a business owner. Brandon actually is an employee of mine. Great young man, love him to death. But they approached us with this idea when they first started talking about it, and basically my answer was simple. No, I won't give you any money. You don't have anything yet. And from a business standpoint, when I earmark money, we're going to give away so much money a year, and we try to give it away to local charities, local activities, things like that. It's going to boost the local environment here because this is where our money comes from. But I'm not going to commit money and earmark it and then not be able to use it on my taxes, because there is that benefit to me as well as a business owner. Where we have made verbal commitments to Mr. McCook to provide X number of dollars of equipment and services to him. Putting up a flagpole out there is one of the things that I asked if we could do for him. But we're not actually going to give him an agreement for that until there's an agreement that he has some land, because there's no need me earmarking that money. I need to take that money that I've earmarked for donations and I need to move it somewhere and know it's going to get used that year so I can take the tax credits for it. And, from a business standpoint, that's just a comment I wanted to make. And that's been his biggest frustration is, I know some other businesses he's approached, and we've had the same conversation with those owners is, well, we're not going to earmark money, Chris, until he's got provisional use, at least provisional use of the land, saying, hey, yeah, that money's going to be used. Then I don't mind giving him the money. Obviously, as a 501, if he doesn't use the money when the time period allotted, I expect to see that money move to another charitable group. I don't so much need it returned because I need to take the tax credits on it.
No. Is that, you're done?
I'm done.
Okay. I was going to ask if you could remove your second so I can remake the motion
Thank
here
you,
real
Chris. You
quick.
can sit down. Thank you.
Because you seconded it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you could remove your second so I can remake the motion here now that we've had some
Yeah,
discussion.
withdraw that second.
I would like to remove my motion and make a new motion to enter into an agreement with Brandon McCook and 308 BMX to use a portion of the tract of land referred to as South Park located in the southeast quadrant of Walker Road and South Buffalo Road for use as a BMX site, pending discussion with the city on any land fees on an open city park, and contingent upon raising the funds within 9 months.
second that.
Is that right?
It is, it's a start. One of the big issues again is the term of the, I know there was a lot of discussion last time about the term of the lease and that sort of thing, but
Well, that's why I said we'll keep it as this will keep it as do we need a second? Do we have a second?
I second
Okay,
it.
so what I said is it'll be an open.
Your motion's on it.
Yep, it'll be an open city park, and then we will negotiate any land use fees. So when they want to close it off to do an event, it'll be no different than if, we want to set it at, I don't know, whatever you set at a softball diamond for rental fee or whatever, that ends up getting negotiated at. So it would be an open city park like Kearney, which I did go visit, by the way, and it looks nice. And I did talk to some of their city council people and their mayor about it. And then we would set a fee schedule if need be in order to make sure that we can maintain, for maintaining or maintenance of major events. That's the way I worded it.
I think what you're trying to get at is if the money's raised in the next 9 months, we'll get together again to make the formal contract for length of terms. Right?
Yeah, for any.
Okay, so this right now is just for, we're gonna enter an agreement given up to 9 months from now for you to raise the money, correct?
He'll have 9
Conditional-
months.
Conditionally, he raises the money in the next 9 months, right? And after the 9 months,
Contingency raises the money for the project.
Well, how much is that, 49 cents or 180,000?
Well, if he can't build the project, one, you can't put a strict dollar amount on it because figures could change. Price of whatever could change dramatically in the next 6-9 months.
We have the TC Engineering estimate for the entire project, including roughly a $20,000 contingency. Our goal as a whole is, on our part, we would like to raise $250,000. And then with the New Bern funds that we're requesting also, that $35,000, that would provide $285,000 to build this project, even though it's only been estimated at costing $193,000. So in case you don't know what our goal is, that is our goal.
Can we put in the motion that it be either that dollars in cash or sign the pledges?
Sure.
Yeah, I think you need that.
Motion to amend.
So.
fine, I'll remove my second. Make it, let's go.
No, we'll make a motion to amend, it'll be easier. Make a motion to amend requiring Brandon McCook to raise $188,000 over 9 months.
This is a 308 BMX. I'm just the head.
Okay, sorry,
of the
308
serpent.
BMX,
I'm
308 BMX
Thank
to
you.
raise $188,000 over the course of the next 9 months. Because that would cover his engineering estimate.
Second.
And then you need a vote on that amendment. Right?
Raise $188,000 over the next 9 months.
Yes.
I have to clear the votes, so don't vote.
This is a motion to amend.
Yes.
So first you'll vote on the amendment, whether or not to amend the main motion.
That's what we're voting on now?
Just the
Yes.
amendment, whether or not to amend the main motion.
The amendment was the $188,000.
And that motion passes.
And now the main motion, as it's amended, is on the table.
Right. And that passes as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That is definitely a step in the positive direction.
Okay, we still got work to do here, so thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Item number 5, action on ordinance number 3967, moving regular North Platte City Council